Welcome to Life After, a podcast for women to take you from feeling like you're just surviving to thriving, to creating a life you really love. Expect to discover tips and tricks to get there. Each episode will have actionable steps to empower you to make changes. I started this podcast because I've been through it all, from getting out of a marriage with a narcissist to completely rebuilding my life. And now I'm on a mission to help you too. You can change your life. It's absolutely possible. Nothing is permanent except change. Unknown. You may not be able to change the past, but with each action, you can change the future. Jade Fire Gold and June CL Tan. The secret of all change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Socrates. Sometimes it's the smallest decisions that can change your life forever. Carrie Russell. In this episode, we are going to talk about change. Change is good. Keep listening. Just like the quote says, nothing is permanent except change. The sooner we learn to lean in and embrace change, the easier our lives become. When I wrote this episode, so many of the quotes were about how change is painful, uncomfortable, and fearful. It doesn't have to be. Once we accept that change is inevitable, and we believe that, and or we lean into it, life just gets better and easier. Keep listening for more about how this shift occurs. I'm here to tell you that 15 years ago, no one hated change more than me. I was under this illusion, sorry, not sorry, it was an illusion, that change was bad, that I could control everything in my life. This, of course, is ridiculous. I mean, when I think about it, it's ridiculous. Coming to this realization included a 15-year relationship with an abusive ex-husband and a very long, painful divorce. We often feel a lot of discomfort before we are ready to change and grow. And change often feels messy and uncertain because you're leaving the familiar behind, even when that familiar thing is painful or you don't want to be doing it any longer. Please know that that awkward in-between stage is where your growth happens. Now, you'd think there couldn't be any more painful thing than an abusive relationship and a horrible divorce, right? Except because of my unwillingness to see and accept that I had no control in what was happening, there was way more pain. Until I was ready to accept change and do things differently, the pain endured. Ultimately, we only have choices, and the knowledge or understanding that those choices create change. Absolutely necessary, incredible change. I really hope that you leave this episode knowing that change can be a positive thing in our life. And when I say I had no control in what was happening, it meant that I didn't get to control the outcomes. I didn't get to decide. I had to show up and do my best and make the difficult choices, right? Just because we have choices doesn't mean they sometimes don't feel challenging. That I had to make the difficult choices that were coming at me. Now, it's sometimes hard to believe that I was that same person. I sometimes think, who was that person? Especially because I was that pessimist for so long. And as much as she kept me alive and, well, somewhat sane, I would never go back. I would never want to live again where my survival and my sanity relied on me controlling everything in my life. What all of that adversity and challenge taught me was that I could reclaim my power when I allowed for change, and therefore then started making my own choices about what my life, and because the kids were so young, their lives should look like. In healing from a toxic or narcissistic relationship, whether it's an intimate partner, a boss, a friend, someone in the community, change isn't just survival. It's an act of taking your life back and choosing a new direction. I love this quote by Maya Angelou. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. I love it because it reminds us that we always have a choice. So often it doesn't feel like we have a choice. I get that. We could be in situations like we must pay the mortgage, so we have to keep the job, regardless of that terrible boss. We feel obligated to stay in our relationship that's not working because we don't know who else might be out there and we don't want to be alone. We can't go to school because it's too expensive, and how could we possibly pay for it? There's no way to lose the weight we want because we don't have the time to work out or eat healthily. This list of ways we, quote unquote, can't change our lives can go on and on and on and on and on. And it's different for everyone and your specific circumstances. But I'd like to ask, what's one reason that you fall back on, that you tell yourself change can't happen? No matter what that reason is, this is a really nice way to say this. It's making excuses sometimes. We always have the opportunity to change what's happening in our lives, even though that change might not look exactly like what we think it will or should be. Just like Maya Angelou says, we have the ability to change our attitude and to make choices around something that we think we can't change. I invite you to always consider that there are possibilities outside of what you may automatically move towards. We have habits, we build routines, and we sometimes get stuck in this thought process that those things can't change. And so I just really invite you to consider those possibilities that may be out of the box, that may not be what you're normally accustomed to, and be open to those possibilities coming to you, for you, around you, however you want to feel and visualize and see and tap into what possibilities might look like. If the change isn't happening because you are focused on a choice that isn't relative or realistic, again, be open to what choice, what decision might work. While it might not be conventional or what you or society or anybody thinks is normal or what your experience has been, it doesn't mean that it won't work. And when we're looking to make a change, it often won't be the actions that got us there that will then get us out of there. Also, sometimes we just simply have to make it up as we go. Build the plane as we're flying, as one of my friends and collaborators says. Sometimes we aren't gonna know what's next, except that we have a deep knowing, a deep feeling that things staying the same just isn't tenable. It won't work. And I'm gonna go back to the example of my divorce. There, unless you've been through a divorce, you often have no idea what's gonna happen. And I had an amazing attorney, and so he was really helpful. And one of the things he taught me was that in many cases, we could only make the next decision. So sometimes that's why we're building the plane as we're flying, because we can't possibly go through all the change that we're going to experience in life or in a circumstance or situation you're in prior to being in it. So just being really open to that idea, that concept, can give us the patience. Patience is hard, the courage, the access to tapping into that willingness to make the next decision, see what happens, look around, make the next decision, determine how that went, make the next decision. That's building the plane as we're flying. Know that every step or small change that you make, making those decisions, looking around, how did that go, evaluating it, making the next step, every single one of those steps that you make, that small change, it adds up. Big transformations often start with tiny shifts. By changing one habit, one thought pattern, one daily choice, we can start on a path to a new, safer, and more joyful life. And I want to say that I know there aren't a ton of tips in this episode, so I want to say that this is my tip, and it's kind of it kind of borders for me on a as a pro tip, and that is when we are looking to make a change in our life. Often, what we need, for me, it's often that first step that's the hardest, right? Once I take that first step, make that first decision, make that first choice, then I can, even just one of those helps me create some momentum to keep me motivated. And then I get in the cycle of I make a little progress, which motivates me more, which makes me have a little more momentum. I see that it's working, gives me more motivation, right? I get in this cycle. But it's that first step, right? It's that first step that we resist so much. So my tip is the suggestion to look at it as taking 15 seconds of courage. By using 15 seconds of courage and doing that one first thing, that one first action, no matter how small, it could be a micro action. But 15 seconds of courage will move you through that one transformative step. When we're open to the change and the possibilities that it creates, our life gets incrementally better. And that's where we start to see the big transformation, right? Those baby steps, those baby micro actions start the transformation that allows us to see a real change in our lives. Notice how in the world, change has a natural rhythm. Seasons shift, tides move, the moon moves in phases. It can be like that for us too. Change isn't just inevitable. It is absolutely built into the fabric of all life. Don't resist change. If you take only one thing from this episode, that's my invite to you. Sometimes we really try to force that resistance. And so often in those cases, it causes more challenge or difficulty or pain than the change itself would. I leave you with this. Change is good. Change your life. When we welcome change and embrace that natural rhythm, life becomes easier, smoother, and way more fulfilling. This podcast is a valuable resource for anyone seeking to make meaningful changes in their life. I'm here to support you on your unique journey, offering guidance and encouragement every step of the way. There will be new episodes on the second and fourth Wednesday every month. Please follow on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss any episodes. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode on change. Remember, we always have a choice, and change is good. Change is good. Your life will improve when you lean into it instead of trying to avoid it. As we wrap up, here's the thing. I've made every mistake. I've literally been there and done that. It's one step at a time, and you'll get there. There's hope. You've got this. If you're struggling in a relationship and wondering if it might be controlling, you're not alone. Download my free PDF at locatecoaching.com/free gift to help you find clarity and confidence. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon.